Lots of things going on right now, right? Christmas just ended, New Year's. Lots of people have set cool New Year resolutions, goals. But then there's one barrier.
What's that?
Lots of people experience something called SAD, Seasonal Affective Disorder.
Okay. Yeah, that lots of people do. And this is the prime time to be experiencing it.
Absolutely. So what is SAD?
Well, seasonal depressive disorder, obviously, it's part of the name. You tend to have lack of energy, more symptomatic with your depression, not really want to leave the house because it's dark and cold and gray, and everything just seems harder.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's no real diagnosable piece that you can say, okay, this is why this is what you're experiencing. But a lot of people have linked this to the fact that there just isn't enough sunlight and the days are so short and you're not getting that vitamin D from the sun. I mean, you can use a supplement, of course. Lots of people do recommend those things.
But it's not the same, I feel like. Supplement is great and everything, maybe physically within your body, but what do you actually feel when you go outside in the sun?
Mm-hmm.
That feeling, it's not really there because, typically people have jobs, right, that are between the hours of
9 and 5, whatever.
Right, whatever, right? And so those are the times that you're working, you're doing something, whatever, you're focused on your business, and then comes 4:00 and you leave your work and you're just like, okay, it's dark. So I left when it's dark for some people, and now I'm coming back and it's dark. So you never really get to experience that brightness, that joy you kind of get from look at the sun, look at the clouds, look at the sky.
I mean, along those same lines, right? It's that motivation piece of if it's sunny outside, you're more motivated.
Yes.
You want to go outside. You want to spend time in nature. You want to see all those beautiful things that come with spring and summer and, into fall.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is a change of that environment and your everyday, I think, patterns and habits, right? Because I know for me, I love to take walks, but when it's really cold outside, I don't go out as much. I don't think I personally experience SAD because I love snow. I love winter. It doesn't affect me as much as other people, but I truly do see that in my clients where they really kind of wind down in terms of how much they can produce in a day or how motivated they are to do all the different chores or all different things that they sort of had originally planned to get done, which is sort of the opposite of how society is putting this type of season, which is, New Year's resolution, do all your goals, get them done, which is why we see that dip and people do try. They do have that, yes, I'm going to try. But then a couple of weeks into the new year, you realize wow, I really don't have the energy to even keep some of the goals that I have set.
I think that's a good point, and that's exactly what I was thinking when you were talking, is the holiday season tends to, for the most part, bring out that okay, I'm going to go buy gifts. I'm going to go spend time with family, even though it may not be so great sometimes, but you know what I mean? There's momentum, there's things going on, it's a new year. You set some goals, some resolutions, and then everything just kind of comes to a halt. And then what? Right? Everything, all the holidays are over. You're not really, maybe you've already exerted your time with your family. Maybe you don't even want to spend time with your family anymore, and what is there to do? And how do you motivate yourself? So what do you do when you start feeling that way?
Well, I think it's realizing and having a little bit of self-compassion, because I think even though I don't experience SAD, I do experience exhaustion after the holiday season, because for the most part I host, my family comes over. So it's this huge clean everything, prepare, go out and shop for everything, and then decorate inside, outside. There's just so much going on to where after the holidays and things kind of slow down, I'm whoa, I'm kind of tired, So when it comes to those goals, it's I'm very self-compassionate to be able to say okay, I need a little break, and then we'll kind of start working towards my personal goals, because up until now it was sort of about everybody else, right? The gifts, the thoughts, the cards,
and maybe that's really key here is okay, even if you do set, let's say, New Year's resolutions, maybe give yourself that break in between the holidays when
January 1st is not when I start.
Maybe that's not the time.
No way.
I mean, seriously, maybe that's not the time. And maybe for a lot of people though, right? Like using you as an example, but maybe for a lot of people, maybe you would be more or other people might be more successful if maybe there was that break. And then, okay, you know, once you've recharged a little bit, then you have the motivation and energy to actually accomplish some of those goals that you set.
Because I don't believe that pushing through it is always the best choice. Like, yes, in some cases it is.
Yeah.
But in terms of like making sure that you're successful and that there isn't this like fail because you just don't have any more energy, you keep going and then you just can't. So then you stop and then you start with a, you know, like wallowing to a certain degree of like, oh, I didn't stick to this plan or whatever. So to avoid that disappointment and to give myself a chance to recover, if possible, I even take time off of work, you know, to be able to really just relax, decompress, exist for a couple of days. And then after I feel rested, I don't really have to force myself to, you know, get back in there because I feel better. I feel good. I feel re-energized. I took the time to care for myself. And then I'm like, okay, cool. What's in the agenda? Like, what do I want to accomplish? What's the next thing on the list?
It becomes more exciting rather than kind of like a chore. Because if you just go at it through the holidays, after the holidays, it still kind of feels like a chore, right? Like it's the responsibility, but maybe you won't feel that way if there is that break.
No, absolutely.
And in that break, you gotta implement those self-care routines, right? Like, how do you decompress? What feels good for you? What is rest?
Sleep.
To you.
To me? Are you asking or are you saying rhetorical?
I guess both.
Dude, I sleep an obnoxious amount.
Exactly.
Like I go to sleep early. I sleep in if I have that opportunity. You know, I do try to take a walk, especially in the earlier part of the day. So especially if it's a little bit sunny the way that it's been for the last couple of days. Yes, it's cold, but I'm getting that sun, you know?
Yes.
So it's like I really try to kind of do the things that give me energy, that give me joy. You know,
fuel your body in a good way.
A lot, especially because if you do take that break from work or whatever, and then you're able to really just create the meals that really make you feel, you know, good and like those whole,some like hearty soups. I love soups, you know, so like all of that really makes me feel good and re-energized and re-vitamined, nutriented.
I love the terms.
Whatever, dude.
No, I get it. It's all about the small things too, right? Like what foods give you energy? What makes you feel good? Like what you said, the soups. It's soup season.
It is.
It really is.
But even cooking them together with my husband is so much fun because we'll go to the grocery store and we'll buy all these goodies and then we'll get home and we'll cook the soup together. And it's just all of these little things that are so much decompression and joy at the same time.
And it's for you guys versus like other people. Like it's great when you're hosting family, okay, you know, but it's also a lot of work. You got to make sure you're accommodating everybody and, you know, not just thinking about yourself. And sometimes it's okay to just think about like yourself and your unit, right? So you're like, okay, what soup do we want versus what does, you know, my mom or whoever exactly wants, right? So you're focused on yourself. You're giving yourself that chance to just be and be happy and choosing things that you do throughout the day that make you happy.
Absolutely. And for people who do experience seasonal affective disorder, I think it's important to realize there are certain interventions like light therapy. You know, there are lamps that you can buy that truly are so much brighter and that really kind of create that sun effect, right? To where your body really takes in the things that are missing when there is sunlight. So you can spend, 20 minutes, set up the lamp behind a couch somewhere, to where you can just sit down and maybe read your book or whatever, scroll through TikTok, who cares?
Sit down, close your eyes for a second, and
just let it do its thing. But it's about how much are you willing to put in to feel better, right? Because in certain cases, you can just kind of fall into the trap of being like, well, I'm sad, I'm unmotivated, so I'm going to just lay here and just feel the feelings versus realizing like, hey, if I get up and take a shower right now, I'm going to feel better. If I go for a walk, even though it's cold because it's sunny, I'm going to feel better. Maybe I'll eat something that's better instead of takeout today. So it's like all those little things that are important. I mean, if it happens every single year to you and you're truly somebody who experiences it, you have to make the choice to be able to say, I'm not going to feel as sad.
Exactly. But again, I know we keep preaching this, but the awareness, because as you were talking, I can imagine a lot of people, and I've even seen this in my clients, is people don't have that awareness that maybe that is what is affecting me. Every season, every time it gets cold, every time winter comes, we live in an area where it's cold and it gets dark quickly and during the winter time. And so, but the awareness piece sometimes is lacking, right? Like, I wonder, I guess I just feel bad during the winter, but it's like, okay, but why? Let's think about this. Let's think this through and maybe think, okay, does this happen every year? Like, when do I start feeling like this? What am I noticing about these patterns, right? So I think awareness is key once again.
Absolutely.